My aunt said to me, one of my aunts, and I ain't gonna put her out there like this. The first thing she said when I said to her we was going to Africa, me and my husband went to visit her for Thanksgiving. One of her friends was there, and our son was with us. And we're telling her about Africa, and the first thing she yells out, "Why the F would you want to go to Africa? Ain't nothing but poor and hungry children there, and they're sick and all this, and well, y'all just gonna go ahead." And her friend was the one, "Why would you hate on their decision?" Her friend was the one jumped in. "Why would you hate on their decision?" She said, "You know what? Y'all young and y'all black, go ahead and do it. Go ahead and do it. I support you." And she's clapped for us in front of my aunt. My aunt was very upset. And I just looked at her, because I'm just like, it's the fear of the unknown. And because you're not willing to educate yourself so that you could determine what you said to be false is the reason why you reacted like that. And I've had friends of mine even say, why would you want to go there? Why not Europe? Why not? And I get really irritated with anybody black that when you ask them what's the first country you want to travel to, and they never name an African country. Never. They never. And it's so irritating. It makes my skin crawl because it's like, I want nothing more than to be around my own, to see where I come from, to see where my features come from, to see why I'm so creative, why I am. Why have so many Africans since I was young always told me, you look like you're from, I want to know this. I want to know the inner powers that I have, my spiritual reasons of why I always had dreams about Africa and why I felt like I was always so drawn to it. And why I needed to know. And yeah, so I had to come to explore and find out, and I'm happy I made it here.
I'm an African soldier. If you never know, you better know now. I'm an African soldier. Say boy better know how we run, boy, yeah. Fully governed, Mr. Fully governed. Step on the scene, man, humble lion. Holy Zion, me say holy Zion. Me solid as a rock and me strong like iron. Fire burning, and that is Jaja sign. We going, yo, this greatness can't decline. Flowing, this river cannot dry. Oh mama Africa, we tell them this is our time, yeah. I'm an African soldier.
They walked up the water with the books in their hand, saying, show us the rivers, please show us the land. And we, with the hearts of the warm summer sun, we welcomed the strangers, we didn't see the gun. They wrote in their diaries, they measured the stone, they smiled at our children, they sat in our home. We offered them water, we offered them bread, but they were counting the gold underneath where we tread. It was psychological warfare, dressed up as a friend, the beginning of a story we didn't know would end. The explorer mapped the mountain and the mineral, the missionary mapped the spirit and the mind, the merchant mapped the market and the capital, and left the freedom of our fathers far behind. They told us, look up to the heavens, let your words stay. While they were down in the dirt, taking everything we made, they said, turn the other cheek, wait for the promised land. We closed our eyes to pray, and they stole the sand. No, the ancestors didn't fail, they were ambushed by grace. They brought a war in a smile to a peaceful place. Before we could even say amen, the chains were already on the wrists of the men.
Support the preservation of a vital cultural tradition. Vodou faces erasure and misrepresentation in today's world. Your support ensures Vodou's future and cultural integrity. Help preserve this vital culture today. Support the preservation of a vital cultural tradition. Vodou faces erasure and misrepresentation in today's world. Your support ensures Vodou's future and cultural integrity. Help preserve this vital culture today. Support the preservation.
Honor and respect, honor and respect, honor and respect. Divine all blessed greetings and salutations. Is another edition of Revolutionary Hoodoo, New Orleans Voodoo Secrets and Recipes. Voodoo Hoodoo 101. Powered, produced, promoted, sponsored, and supported by NOIVD, New Orleans International Vodou Day. New Orleans International Vodou Day exists to restore rightful dignity, authority, and global recognition to the Voodoo family of traditions. Our mission, purpose, and the motive behind New Orleans International Vodou Day forms a single coherent vision to protect, unify, and elevate Vodou and Voodoo as living world traditions with deep ancestral, cultural, and spiritual authority. Our mission frames NOIVD not as a festival, but as a cultural embassy for Vodou worldwide. NOIVD responds to the urgent needs of this moment, a time when Voodoo is simultaneously sought after while yet misunderstood and misrepresented. Our purpose unfolds across several dimensions. NOIVD exists to protect the traditions from harm. NOIVD confronts misrepresentation in the media, exploitation by uninitiated practitioners, cultural theft and commodification, historical trauma and colonial narratives, and by establishing standards of authenticity. NOIVD becomes a shield for the traditions and the communities that carry them forward. NOIVD serves as a platform for public teaching, ceremonial demonstration, scholarly dialogue, youth and community education. And this ensures that what the world learns about Vodou comes from real practitioners, not stereotypes or outsiders. So we continue to strengthen international cultural diplomacy through partnerships with the Republic of Benin, Haitian cultural and spiritual leadership, New Orleans cultural institutions, global diaspora communities. And NOIVD positions Voodoo as a legitimate world religion with diplomatic presence and cultural power. And we continue to invite your continued support, participation, and visitation, promotion of these events, donations, and sponsorship of this powerful legacy and expanding international endeavor. Please continue to visit us for connection and more information about participating, volunteering, and supporting our symposium, our Afro Ecology exhibit, and art exhibition at Xavier University, Saturday, May 23rd, and our sacred procession from the river to Congo Square, where we will be in ceremony on Sunday, May 24th. We are also thankful for your continued support and participation on all social media platforms, and for those who participate and support this podcast live in chat and always in archive at your leisure and convenience. Now, do join us live on platform with your mic, camera, and avatar photo by way of the QR code in the upper left corner of your screen or the scrolling URL at the bottom of your screen. And please continue to visit us for more information and connection at voodooday.org, VODOUDAY.org. Our NOIVD QR code is at the bottom right corner of your screen. And tonight, we sort of continue the intersectionality and differentiation of spirits and energy in our practice and traditions. But we will be progressing to a deeper level of understanding and conversation. And certainly we're thankful for those who show up with us live, always in chat. Our beloved Daniel Neal, community member here on the ground, as well as in the virtual spaces. We certainly appreciate you. Nina Lloyd, thank you so much for your continued support and participation. And our beloved house brother and member, Jeff Austin. We certainly appreciate your continued support and presence. Much love to you and yours. And to all of those who continue to show up and participate and listen by way of all of our various Facebook pages, profiles, groups, our local, regional, national, and international listenership by way of our LinkedIn, YouTube, Twitter X, and always Instagram. We're certainly thankful and appreciative of you. And I will be unmuting momentarily my first priest, armor bearer, Black Hawk Voodoo Wildman, initiated member of the Source and co-administrator NOIVD, Brother Joshua Nyland Tanner. I will be unmuting our beloved house member, Queen Mother, Sister Bianca Johnson Plessy, initiated member of the Source and committed co-administrator for NOIVD. And my second priest, as well as an initiated member of the Source and a member of my own house, as well as our executive producer and director for the coming production, Respect the Voodoo, Tyson Horn. We certainly do appreciate your continued support, commitment, and participation. And we will be unmuting you all momentarily as we continue the differentiation of spirits, energies, ghosts, and jinn in ATR and the diaspora, from Ouida, Benin to Haiti, the Caribbean, the Americas, and certainly New Orleans today. So, family, beloved, gather close, because tonight, as we step into this conversation that our ancestors have been having long before any of us were born, a conversation that began in the red earth of Ouida, under the shade of the Iroko trees, carried across the waters by those who refused to let their spirits die, and widespread still in the streets of Treme, in the cemeteries of New Orleans, in every place where the African soul has taken root. So tonight we speak on the differentiation of spirits, energies, ghosts, and jinn in continued conversation. And not as superstition, not as fantasy, but as cosmological science, as ancestral memory, as the living architecture of African traditional religion across the diaspora. Because in ATR, everything has its place, everything has its nature, everything has its protocol. And when you know the difference, you walk with clarity, with protection, and with power. So tonight, we further discuss the spirits, the divine forces, the Loa, the Orisha, the Voodoo, the Inkisi. Let us begin where the ancestors began, with the spirits, the great intelligences of creation. In Benin, among the Fan and Ewe, they are Voodoo, Dan and Ayibobo, the serpents of creation, Sakpata, master of the earth, Hevioso, the thunder that speaks justice. Among the Yoruba, they are Orisha, Ogun, who clears the path with iron, Oshun, who sweetens the world with beauty, and Kyojode, Oshe, Shango, who thunders with righteous fire. And among the Congo, they are Mkisi, spirits housed in sacred medicines, in earth, in water, in iron. In Haiti, they became the Loa, Ogu, Ezeli, Dambala, Gede, the same forces, the same families carried across the water and reborn in a new land. And here in New Orleans, they walk with us still, in the crossroads of Congo Square, in the rhythm of the drums, in the breath of the city itself. These spirits are not ghosts. They are not energies. They are not the wandering dead. They are cosmic forces, primordial, structured, ancient, and ordered. They have names. They have songs. They have colors, offerings, rhythms, and protocols. And when they come with purpose. When they speak with authority. When they mount with order, not chaos. This is the first category. Energies, the current, the ashe, the vital forces. Now, beneath the spirits, around the spirits, the flowing through all things, we have energies, not beings, not personalities, not ancestors, but currents. In Yoruba thought, this is ashe, the power to make things happen. Among the Fan, it is Se, the force of destiny. In the Congo, it is the medicine force inside the Nkisi. In the diaspora, we know it as heat and coolness, drawing and repelling, opening and closing, charging and grounding. These are not spirits you pray to. These are forces you work with. When you light a candle to draw something in, that is energy. When you cleanse to remove something, that is energy. And when you cool your head before divination, that is energy. Energy is a votive of the spiritual world. It fuels the spirits. It fuels the ancestors. It fuels you. But it is not a being. It does not have a personality. It does not have a story. It is the current that moves through the story. This is the second category. Now, we speak of ghosts, the ancestors, the dead, the elevated, and the wandering. Now, we come to ghost, and this is where many people get confused because in ATR, not all dead are the same. Among the Yoruba, the Egungun are the elevated ancestors, the ones who lived well, died well, and continue to guide the living. Among the Fan, the Zen are the ancestral shades, the memory of the lineage. In Haiti, the Gede are the guardians of the cemetery, the tricksters, the healers, the ones who laugh at death because they have mastered it. But there also are the Moyo, the ordinary dead, the unclaimed dead, the wandering dead. And here in New Orleans, we know death well. We know the dead well. We walk with them in St. Louis Cemetery. We feel them in Treme. We hear them in the music, in the second line, in the stories of this city. Ghosts are human. They carry emotion, they carry memory, they carry unfinished business. Some protect you. Some cling to you. Some need elevation, and some need release. But they are not spirits. They are not energies. They are not jinn. They are the human dead, and they must be treated with dignity, the caution, and the protocol that the dead deserve. This is the third category. Now, jinn, the non human, pre Islamic elemental beings. And now we arrive at the fourth category, the jinn. Before Islam, before the Quran, before the spread of Arabic culture, the people of the Sahel, Sudan, Mali, Senegal, and the Hausa lands already knew of these beings. They are made of smokeless fire. They are shapeshifters. They are morally neutral, not good, not evil, simply themselves. And they are not ancestors. They are not deities. They are not energies. They are another category entirely. Some African Muslims brought knowledge of the jinn into the diaspora, into the Caribbean, into Brazil, into American South, and yes, even into New Orleans, where the Senegambian presence was strong. and where stories of desert spirits traveled quietly through the quarters. Jinn do not behave like Loa. They do not behave like Orisha. They do not behave like ghosts. They are quick, they are hot, they are volatile. They require contracts, boundaries, and respect. This is the fourth category. And why the distinction matters. Why does it matter? Because when you confess a ghost for a deity, you invite chaos. When you treat an energy like an ancestor, you misdirect your offerings. When you call a jinn thinking it is a loa, you open a door you may not be prepared to close. An ATR is not random. It is not chaotic. It is not anything goes. It is a science, a cosmology, a system of classification refined over thousands of years. And when you understand the categories, you understand the world. The diaspora is the breathing, living crossroads from Ouida to Haiti, from Benin to Brazil, from the Congo to Cuba, from the motherland to New Orleans. These categories survived. They changed names, they changed languages, they changed rhythms, but they did not lose their essence. In Haiti, the Loa walk with the Gede. In Brazil, the Orishas dance with the Caboclos. In Cuba, the Orisha walk alongside the Muertos. In New Orleans, the spirits, the ancestors, the energies, and the ghost all share the same streets. This city is a crossroads, a place where the living and the dead, the divine and the human, the African and the Creole, and the indigenous all meet and mingle. And yet, even here, the categories remain. So, moving forward, as I invite my beloved co hosts and panelists to begin to join the conversation, please, those in the chat, if you have questions, type them in all caps so we can see them and properly respond tonight as we honor the traditions of our ancestors, as we stand in the lineage of Ouida, as we carry the fire of Haiti, as we walk the streets of Treme. Let us remember, spirits are divine. Energies are forces. Ghosts are human. And jinn are otherworldly. And each with its own nature, each with its own protocol, each with its own place in the great spiritual ecosystem of the African world. And when you know the difference, you walk with clarity, you walk with protection, you walk with power, and you walk in the footprints of and footsteps of those who crossed the water but never lost their way. Ayibobo, Ashe, merci, merci, and amen. And I ask and invite my beloved co-host to please come on in. Greetings, Ray Alexander. Thank you so much for joining us. The Queen Mother, Sister Tony Val Martinez, community mother, community activist, research person, a community agitator. She will shake it up and move the energy around. Our beloved brother Tyson Horn, please do come on in, executive producer. Brother Joshua Nyland Tanner, please do come on in and into the conversation. And our beloved Bianca Johnson Plessy. Greetings and salutations, each and every one. Good evening, and what's
good evening? Good
evening, everyone on the panel and in the listening audience. How y'all doing?
Good. How you doing, Mama?
All is a blessing.
I'm okay.
Good.
I don't know how many of y'all familiar with Kirlian photography. It's a type of photography that can show you energy.
Oh, yes.
They started with plants by splitting a leaf. And once the leaf was split, you could see the missing part energy still in the shape of that leaf.
Mhm.
They did it with humans, amputees, where once the limb was gone, there was still an energy in that exact shape coming out in this photography, and it be moving. It don't be still. The energy is moving, like crackling, like moving. It's hard to explain. You have to see it for yourself. Around the area where the limb was at, just energy that was once belonged to that person or that plant or that animal. They've done it with tree branches, and it's still an energy. And also the jinn. Did Hollywood try to explain the jinn to us with I Dream of Jeannie?
Aladdin.
Yeah, but even before Disney, we watched I Dream of Jeannie. Her master was supposed to be a jinn. I thought a genie was a female jinn, and the jinn. So she had someone over her that was a jinn, and jinns can be trapped in objects. They can be caught and trapped. That's where you get the 3 wishes if you let them loose and all of that.
Mhm.
And then Aladdin came out to introduce our children to jinns through the cartoons. I don't rub on nothing. I don't buy nothing in the thrift store that look like a lamp or teapot, a sealed bottle. I'm not touching it. I'm not rubbing on it.
That's interesting. This is Sister Tony. How do you feel about people out in the streets when they come up and feel like they could touch you and like put their hands on you? What do you feel about that when it comes to energy? Like, for instance, if you have your spiritual beads on or your spiritual medallions and so forth, what do you think about that
Well,
as far as energy transfers?
Brother Tyson, I believe, first of all, you don't know me in person, but Divine Prince can tell you ain't nobody walking up to me trying to touch me. They're just not. They will open a path and let me pass. They will get out of my way. And I don't even know these people. But as for shaking hands, somebody always ready to shake your hand. And in some cases, like me being in security and the Divine Princess security, it was a thing where you shook the client's hand, you shook the supervisor's hands. And what I would always do is I would make sure I shook their hand with a strong grip. I was letting them know who the boss. You wasn't getting no little weak dish rag handshake from me. But no, don't be touching me. I just never had that problem. And then the funny thing about it is, even guys that liked me and was trying to get in a relationship, they would say, "Can I touch your hair?" They would ask permission first. So, but yeah, don't be letting everybody touch you. Don't be. Oh, that's why I don't like crowds. They had this thing going on lately all over TikTok about people touching you with their elbow, transferring
Yeah, I
their
saw that.
energy to
I saw that
your
guy.
energy, and you getting their luck, and they getting your good luck, and you getting their bad luck.
It's the whole Destiny swap.
Yeah,
That
Destiny
trend.
swap.
That was trending.
And
Still
and,
trending.
and listen, I want to respond to that as well as Ray Alexander's question in the chat, sort of at the same time. No, you can't let everybody touch you. You can't let everybody pray for you. You can't let everybody anoint you. I'm speaking to a certain demographic out there. No. My mother's a well-known book author and evangelist. She has experienced such scenarios. My sister Wapani, who once traveled in quote unquote church circles, experienced scenarios where just making physical contact with certain people made them ill, terribly ill.
Yeah.
I thought we began to learn that lesson during the pandemic. during that period of extended isolation and non-involvement and non sort of interaction with other people's energy and frequency, created for some a great place of reset and alignment or realignment. I was one of those people, but for others, it was almost like a addict losing connection to their source, and not having that energy of other people to feed upon and keep them, upright every day. It's a
Yeah,
very
them
powerful
energy,
thing.
those
Yeah.
energy vampires was hungry.
So
They
even in
couldn't touch
ritual
all people.
application,
And
absolutely.
an,
So even in
and
ritual
an,
application,
and another thing, don't let everybody be in your hair. Oh my God. I
Is this
tried to
about
go
the
to
chicken blood?
hairdresser and had to leave because time they wasn't touching my hair, it looked like every hair on my head stood up and every being in me say run. And I leave my daughters there apologizing. I'm sorry. She funny like that. And then too, if I find somebody I'm comfortable with cutting my hair, I want every piece of hair up off this floor. Give it to me.
Elder Tony, did you see? Because I know you catch up on the news. Did you see that recent trend on the news about the girl who didn't pay attention to the instructions from the bubble owl and went to the hairdresser with the chicken blood in her hair, and then the hairdresser's lady, her child ended up passing. Who put her hands in that woman's hair?
Wow, I did not see that one. But that is very interesting. Why would you go to a hairdresser with ceremonial chicken blood in your hair? That's something very personal. And like you say, she didn't listen to the instructions of and we have that so much. People don't listen to the instructions. They think it's like, oh, a Betty Crocker cake. Oh, I can leave out the milk and just put water. No.
So allow me an opportunity. Please forgive me, Ray, to respond to your question. So in controlled drawing down of these forces, when you think about ceremony, ritual application, Haitian voodoo house, Santeria, Lukumi, even practices like Maria Leonza, Sanse, for example, there is a controlled protocol that's applied, and then there are many layers to that. It's beyond that one person, who's getting mounted. It might be one or two people who are also who've learned to recognize and identify certain nuances that come from these spirits and these frequencies, and then know how to attend to that. There's also, the application of rhythm. The rhythm and the drums also play a great role, much like you might see in a church, in terms of pulling that energy down. It's the reason folks all get to shouting, when they get heavy on the organ, and the drum syncopation sort of picks up, and it feeds on what's ancestral to us, what's innate to us, in terms of that coded language of rhythm, frequency, language, certain nuanced movements. There's a coded language of movements that's going on when we perform ceremony, depending on the song we're singing, depending on the deity that we're, to use your words, Ray, drawing down. And when we think of a Loa or even Orisha, there are often degrees of that spirit. Some say 21, some say it's more than 21. But they often have a personality, have a name, have unique nuances that must be attended to in the moment of that possession, in order to maintain the balance and prevent, mishaps. Sister Tony and I were also looking at today a story of wasn't Sister Tony about the woman who went to Haiti?
Yeah, that was me and you, and her son
Yeah,
was telling the story.
to initiate in Haiti, in Haitian voodoo, and she ended up dying. And her son now is, telling the story. In fact, the video that we were looking at was a Tasha K video. Some of y'all know who Tasha K is. So if you know who Tasha K is, then the video was that messy.
Yeah,
the video was that problematic. It rode in on many of the stereotypes of voodoo, and you should be fearful, and it's dark, and it's wicked. They fed into rumors. The woman was sacrificed. All sorts of things were being sort of conveyed and reinforced in this video. But at the same time, Ray, there certainly is a protocol or order, a sequence of events, and even in the church, that magical books say things should be done decently and in order. It really shouldn't be a bunch of babbling and spitting and drooling at the mouth, and no one is interpreting anything. No one is making sense of what's really being said, if a divine message is being conveyed at all.
Someone should be able to translate it. I just thought it was important that you say that so people would know, like, that this isn't like a random situation that anyone should be trying at home. I thought it was really important that a well-respected priest kind of like break down the different roles that go into that across the different ATRs. So that's why I wanted you to like state it so people would hear that.
Yeah.
My mama wouldn't let two people be in your hair. She said, don't let two people be in your hair at the same time. The mixed energies.
And also people say, you just can't let anybody, be touching your head, like, in certain ceremonial things. You gotta know who's touching your head and so forth like that. And to go along with some of the, the outwardly things that we see in ceremony or in services, and sometimes I've seen a lot in my studies and in my documentations of a lot of things, and sometimes as an onlooker, as a prospector, you see things and you go, man, I wonder how much of this is sensationalized or just putting on, but then there'll be times when that energy is real and you can feel it and you can see it, when certain people are in a mounted, state and all this, but I grew up in a church, sometimes where, Sister Rose would run up she would run up and down the aisle, and Sister Rose was blind, but she would run up and down the aisle when she caught the Holy Ghost and so forth. But we all knew what Sister Rose was like as soon as service was over. So I think, the authenticity of whatever energies or spirits that you're coming across, like that's when people need to use common sense and use caution, because, sometimes you might be playing with fire, like Divine Prince was talking about, where you're calling on something that you really don't know about. But I find that if you just sit and like Divine Prince, help me out when I'm trying to explain this, where you could just like, sometimes when you are searching or when you are trying to learn and trying to understand, there's a level of your own Ori trying to seek that out for you, trying to open up doors for you. Can you speak on that somehow? Because I just don't know how to put it the way you would put it.
And as one of my beloved godmothers, may she rest in our room, used to say, baby, you're only getting by on your ancestors. So indeed, your Ori is your highest state of being, your highest state of consciousness. But as humans who are, part divine, part animal, part earth in nature, we're not vibrating and operating, at our highest frequencies consistently all the time, and certainly without conscious development, conscious growth, in that area, in that arena. So I teach, as I was taught, your ancestors are your front line of defense. God often speaks in a soft, still voice. requiring us to be still, to be quiet, to be meditative, to be prayerful, sometimes to perform, ritual application and prayer. And we still might not hear that soft, still voice of God with clarity. But your ancestors who have had a human incarnation, they'll see you standing out in the middle of the road and they'll push you to the curb. And that bump to the curb, I describe it as the illusion of the issue, the block, the complication, often to get our attention, to protect us, to warn us, to defend us. In the best case scenario, in other cases, to box our ears and pinch our shoulder like Auntie Grandma used to do back in church back in the day. Who know when we cutting up, who know when we're being egotistical or acting outside our range of not control, but our range of consciousness and awareness. And that does happen in ceremonies. I've had ceremonies, and much like you might again see in a church where somebody decides they're going to come and they're going to perform. They're going to present a good word from the Lord, at the most inappropriate time in the most inappropriate way, without, securing the sacredness of the space. And I've seen those people shut down in various religious, spiritual formats and scenarios. I know somebody here in town who threatens to throw a wool blanket on you if you do that at her ceremony. Don't interrupt, the energy with no drama in her opinion. So yeah, there's certainly a way in which spirit will draw us back to the center. Even today, with all of our freedoms and technology, and the illusion of our right to speak and our right to have an opinion and our right to mix a little bit of this, that, and the other together and create our own lane. Yes, and often when we move in that way, we're only asking for the repercussions, the karmic reverberations, of those blind activities coming back to us, often in really strong and aggressive demonstrations. And it doesn't need to be that way. I don't need to smoke crack to know it kill. I mean, I've seen it, grew up around it. I don't need to experiment. I never get that. It's 2026 and people are actually still trying crack for the first time. I don't get it.
Taking that rock.
Has anybody ever bumped into something and nothing was there?
Oh yeah.
Like you physically felt you ran into a wall or another person, but it was nobody there. I think that's one of them type energies the Divine Prince was talking about. They walking, they invisible, they there. I had that happen to me. And it was my left shoulder walking in a stairwell at the Hyatt Hotel. Scared. I'm a rabbit, y'all. Stuff like that, I'm out of there. I am out. And I bumped into it. Well, it bumped into me, or we bumped into each other. A solid force, like you bumping into somebody on the subway.
Yeah.
And I'm the only one in that stairwell.
Yeah.
I think I lost 5 pounds.
I think it's important to draw back to what Bianca was saying the other night. And what I think is really important to tie everything together is be careful about opening doors, invitations. I think a lot of times people this is 2026. People feel like they can go and get like internet invocations and spells. And then, people feel like they can do things without a priest that's been through some storms in a house. And that's wisdom and protection that you're foregoing. That's several lines of people that made mistakes so you don't have to make them. And so I think that's important for people to, not everything that answers is going to be legitimately a Lawa or a Risha or whatever spirit. Things just want a foothold. And if you give them enough energy to establish that foothold, it's far harder to get rid of them. And then you're in real trouble to find someone with the skills in with the capabilities to help get you out of that situation.
Yeah, I remember one time before I started to really study and practice and understand, you know, I had bought some, they were placemats. They were Ouija board placemats
Oh,
that you could buy
Lord.
at the Ross or one of them type of stores. And I thought they were cool, right? I'm like, man, I'm break these Ouija board placemats. It's gonna look cool. And who I was with at the time took them placemats and went straight outside and threw it in the trash. Like and I was like, man, I just bought those things that like you're not, you know, it's like you don't know what you're messing with. Leave that alone. This is like before I knew anything. And it's good to have somebody that's going to have your back to help you not go down the wrong path when you don't know what you're doing. But definitely I could have been playing with something that I had nothing to know, no idea about at the time.
And my thing is, people know, the companies that make these things know the reputation items like a Ouija board has. And to me, I be like, they just waiting for some unsuspected somebody to come in and use it and open up a doorway intentionally. A couple of Christmases ago, there even was a gin doll for kids.
No, ma'am.
I posted it on my Facebook page. They were selling gins, and it was right across the front of the box. This little purplish looking thing. And it may have been after new Aladdin had came out, but he didn't look like the gin of Aladdin. And you know, when they put all of these little troll dolls and now this new thing they got out, oh my God, what's the name of it? All the kids want one. It looked like little vampires, little demons. Oh man, the names, but that's the new thing out right now, introducing our children to play and talk to these objects. Wabubu. And that says Wabubu. For boo boo is something, Wabubu, something like that. And they come from China, and troll dolls. I brought a troll home one time. Oh Lord. My mama saw that. She burnt it. Burnt his waxy plastic little self up and told me never touch one of those again. Always in these fads. A La Boo Boo, that's the name of the little thing. All the kids want them, and you get certain ones. And even South Park did a story on it to show that your children are playing with demons, and the demons, when they got this certain one, they had to do a ceremony and sacrifice a chicken. And when they did that, the devil came along with Donald Trump. They were actually summoning the devil, but you have to know South Park to know why Donald Trump came with him. But and they constantly put them out there, and parents are constantly buying these things knowing that you got your kids playing with little demons.
I'm so surprised that parents would have okay with that. I feel like parents went to bat against Harry Potter and Dungeons and Dragons and the magic cards and stuff like that. But like you're okay with getting your kids these little demon dolls and toys. Like make it make sense.
I know. Make it make sense. Make it make sense. They stuffed animals. They not cute. They got a mouthful of teeth, canine teeth that look like vampires smiling at you. And they cost a fortune to get the collection of these things. And I'm just like, is it just a way to make money? Or is it something greater behind this? So many of our children wouldn't even be scared of demons no more because they didn't play with them so much.
You know, when Annabelle was coming through the city, I wasn't going to be caught anywhere near.
Child, look at here.
I was in Alabama and in a gas station, and I can't remember the exact name, but they were basically voodoo dolls on a rotating rack that you can, buy all of them, almost like those collectible tie stuffed animals that people had. They were like, different characteristics. They had different names for different ones. And, sewn lips and sewn
I
eyes
don't
and
like
different
that.
things like that. And it was like right next to the candy section, just, out. I've started to take a picture of it. I can't remember if I did or not, but I couldn't believe that it was like so
It's so commercialized outside of
commercialized and disrespected. Like, Ty's catchphrase is, respect the voodoo. But that is like the most blatant, commercialized show of disrespect, period, in my opinion, because, they taken the Hollywood sensationalism of it and just said, all right, you know what, we're going to let the kids collect these too. You know what I mean? And just
Yeah.
there's no understanding of what they're playing with.
That's what made me upset about that Tasha K interview that older Tony was talking about. It was like all of the tropes and some of the stuff was getting all mixed up. And I was like, and I have empathy that his mother passed from that situation. And I actually wanted to ask you about that, Divine Prince, or actually Elder Ty too, because you're a priest too. Like when you go through these, and I don't know if you can say this on here, but when you go through these initiations, right, it's like a yes or no, right? But like there is a chance that the spirits could reject you, right? And so it's not like you it's like a certainty that you're going to be okayed and like just given the keys to through the gates, right? Are you allowed to say that on here or no? Can you say that?
Well, yeah, I mean, there's a process. And I will say, without supporting a lot of what her son had to say, I mean, for those who haven't seen it yet, I mean, they were both drunk and drinking during this interview. Okay, and the longer you listen to it, some of the stuff that he said was a bit out there. But having said that, something that he did say was how quickly it happened. She seemed to have, seen a movie or a documentary or something, and the next thing he knew, she was on her way to Haiti, cutting off members of her family, not telling anybody what she was getting involved with, what she was doing. So on the one hand, it sounds like, okay, maybe there's some fear, in her family, and she didn't share a lot. But no, it's a much more drawn out, much more laborious process. Both Brother Joshua and I have described some of that process here on the podcast. Just
and
learning the language,
days, right? And it's several days, right? Like that process.
Several years.
Oh,
yeah,
really?
It's not an overnight thing, and it takes time. And to that point, it's like, there are. I mean, there's like the common term now are trolls. There's trolling.
Yeah.
But if a person, how the algorithms are all monitored. You could talk about vacuum cleaners in your car, and next thing you know, you get advertisements for your vacuum cleaners, right? So as soon as you start to click on spiritual things, spiritual IG pages, TikTok, all these different things, you're gonna have a plethora of people in your inbox claiming to be Babalawos, claiming to be spiritual advisors, spiritual leaders, and a lot of people sometimes get taken down a path. And that happens all the time too. So you have to use a lot of discernment when it comes to even who you will open yourself up to. And that's what I was talking about with Divine Prince when we were saying like your own Ori, it's like you have to give yourself time, and you have to give yourself the amount of time to have the right discernment with a person, because somebody could take you down the wrong alley, if you would. And if anybody who's ensuring that it's an overnight success, is an overnight practice, you could do this in a weekend, that's not correct. It's not real.
And upon those words, we run out of time very much. Indeed. So we're gonna have to carry this over to tomorrow.
Yeah, this we gotta carry this over to tomorrow.
Because it's very
just one last comment about that. Again, certainly they, played on certain triggers, certain tropes, and just how they address this whole conversation. But to a experienced ear, initiated ear, or just a well-read ear, you could hear a lot of the missteps in terms of how his mother got involved and what possibly led up to her demise. But we certainly are thankful and appreciative of your continued support and participation in this live podcast Monday through Friday, 9 p.m. Central Standard Time, on a platform near you by way of our prospective Facebook pages, profiles, and groups. Certainly our regional, local, national, and international listenership by way of LinkedIn, YouTube, Twitter X, and always thankful and grateful for our IG listeners and participants. A Nurse Base 7, we certainly appreciate you. Thank you for coming through. Miss Voodoo Blue joined us this evening. Greetings and salutations to you and yours. Jador Seren joined us. We certainly do appreciate you. Deshaw NYC, thank you so much for joining us. I Am Not Angry joined us this evening, and we certainly appreciate you. Asha Scott joined us. Thank you so much. Traveling Squirrel LTD, I believe, or joined us. Thank you so much. Fruited Body joined us. We certainly appreciate you, and thank you for the like and the follow. And Lanice Love joined us as well. And again, we're certainly grateful for your continued support. Please click the like, share, follow, subscribe, repost the podcast, and share and talk about the coming third annual New Orleans International Vodou Day. This year, May 23rd, our symposium at Xavier University with an illustrious panel from Haiti, Ouida, Benin, and the Diaspora, and our official ceremony and events beginning at the river, at the Mississippi River on May 24th, and then procession to Congo Square. Again, visit us at www.vodouday.org, VODOUDAY. For more information, updates, send us a communication if you wish to participate, volunteer, support, sponsor. We certainly do appreciate you. And again, we look forward to meeting you here tomorrow at 9 p.m. Central Standard Time by way of the QR code with the ducky head in the upper left corner of your screen, or by way of the scrolling StreamYard URL. Until next time, remembering that all is truly and indeed a blessing. If you can just see beyond the veils, for it is all just an illusion and a test, and one of the greatest divine mysteries of this life cycle. Ayibobo, Ashe, no matter what you do, respect the voodoo. Good night.
Good night, everyone.
Good night.
Good night, y'all.
If anybody, any Benima said he's a Christian, he said that he's lying or he doesn't know what he's doing.
But you said you're 10% Christian.
Yes, for what do they call it? For social reasons. So most Edo people are 10% Christians for social reasons. Because if you tell somebody that you are a traditional worshiper, they will see you differently if he knows what it means.
So are you a traditional worshiper then?
I'm an Edo man, so it therefore means I'm 90% traditional worshiper. Ancestors.
So you worship your ancestors?
Yes. I give them more than I give to the one they call the Christian God.
So you do. What else is involved in this worship? Do you do sacrifices?
Yes, we do sacrifices in order to appease. Let's make it easy. When you look at the Christian way of worship, they said you need to make God happy so that he can bless you. Then I said, seek first the kingdom of God and every other thing will be added to you. That is the basics of Christianity. Right? The same way with the traditional religion, we make our ancestors happy, that you can now tell them what you want, how you want it, and then every other thing will be added to you. How do you make them happy? Is by giving them the sacrifices. In fact, we see that before Jesus, which was the Abrahamic relationship, it used to be animal sacrifices.
Yes.
That if you want something, animal must have to be used.
Before Jesus?
Yes. When Jesus came, then they changed the story. Before then, this our way was the way that you want something, you need to go kill animal, right? You need some cola nut, you need some hot, you need to set some fire, you need some sprinkle of water. That is what we still practice. The same way the Judaism till now.
They still shed blood.
That is it. So when you look at it, we are not far from how it was. We are not bringing in a new religion. It's just that the Christians said from Jesus things change, which we don't agree. We still stick to how it was before Jesus came, which is more direct, which is more purposeful, which is more easier.
5 years ago, maybe 7 years ago, discovered that ancestral memory survives in the blood. Something I've always known, and certainly in Voodoo, we've always sort of acted as if we knew. We didn't say it that way, but we're talking to the dead. We're communicating with the ancestors. I got a whole room of dead people living upstairs and, off my bedroom. So certainly through demonstration, we've always understood that. Big Mama, Big Papa, they don't leave you. They're transitions now into another dimensional space. And I am an avid quantum metaphysical student. And I believe it was Einstein that started developing string theory and said that in order for this to be real, we have to be operating in at least 11 interdimensional spaces at once. Time is only just one of those spaces. So we're all time travelers, and we're all moving back and forth in the past, into the future, based on our awareness, based on our training, and I might even say based on our willingness to some degree. You can be blocked enough, fearful enough to shut down your connection to the spirit realm and just not see and just be in denial of what's happening, or what I call be earthbound, be so grounded that you can't fly at all. You can't operate in the spirit realm at all.
Please, allow me to show you something.
They say I'm crazy and that might be true. I got this right in my DNA, yet I'm coming for you. It's time we turn the tables, flip these motherfuckers on you. I wanna see you hanging from trees. It's time you pay for your dirt and your showtime. You created the monster, you created the beast. Now all this savagery you just gon' reap. I'm coming home, daddy, to the plantation, and I'm taking the lives of everybody, including the children, on some Nat Turner awakening. Do you hear that sound? It's about to go down. Unleash the beast, we about to tear this motherfucker down. Do you hear that sound? It's about to go down. Unleash the beast, we about to tear this motherfucker down. I met my girl Harriet at the gate. If you wanna know how she doing, yeah, she's straight. But she had one question: when we gon' get up? All that talking tough, yeah, we don't walk it touch. She got it locked and loaded, got that piece up on her side. She looked me in my eyes and said, Mitch, you ready to ride? Moving forward, you gotta use both eyes. Watch your front and watch your back. Keep your hands up on your gas. Do you hear that sound? It's about to go down. Unleash the beast, we about to tear this motherfucker down. Do you hear that sound? It's about to go down. Unleash the beast, we about to tear this motherfucker down. He sit at the table, but he don't order no bacon. He greet me in those words, assalamu alaikum. Got them glasses on his face and them waves in his head. He go by the name of Detroit Red. He looks me in my eye and says you only get one try. Know that your biggest opposition will come from the inside. I know you wanna love them all, but don't even try, because they'll smile up in your face while plotting your demise. Do you hear that sound? It's about to go down. Unleash the beast, we about to tear this motherfucker down. Do you hear that sound? It's about to go down. Unleash the beast, we about to tear this motherfucker down. We are the children of the ancestors.